everybody. Welcome back to week 5 of our Yoga with Helen for the Down Syndrome Association. I hope everybody is doing really well this week. So let's check in with our usual check-ins. So make sure you have comfortable clothes. Make sure, remember, you may want to have a blanket or a pillow to help along the way. You might have some water, and we'll have bare feet so we don't slip. And just always remember, if you're on a mat, if you're on a slidey floor, if you're on carpet, just to be careful that we don't slide. Okay, and of course remember that you know your body better than me, so if anything feels sore or uncomfortable, just stop, pause the video, and then join us again when you feel ready. So you may be using your chair to help with your yoga, which is a really good thing to do. So if you're using a chair and if you have a yoga mat, always make sure all the legs of the chair are on the yoga mat, just so it stays sturdy and doesn't slide. Okay, let's get started. So let's check back in with our yoga poem. Let's do it together. I am calm. I am peace. I am light. I am love. Good. So this week, let's think about I am light. And let's take that into our yoga practice. So think about what makes you bright, what makes you shine like the brightest light. What is lovely about you? And hold on to that throughout your yoga practice, and remember that because it's important. Let's start with our breathing as we always do. This week, let's just place our hands somewhere that is comfortable on the legs and just shake your shoulders, shimmy your head. Okay, let's take a breath up with the shoulders before we begin our breathing. So breathe the shoulders up towards the ears and let them drop. Let's do one more. Breathe the shoulders up and let them drop. Good. If you like, you could close your eyes. If you don't want to, that's fine. Don't worry. But we could close our eyes and just let yourself focus on your breath. You don't need to change anything about your breath. You don't need to take really deep breaths or anything like that. Just feel your chest rise a little as you breathe in, and then it falls a little as you breathe out. And let's think, as we have in other weeks, about becoming even taller in the spine when we breathe in and when we breathe out. Really feel like you're connected into the floor, that you press into the floor with your sit bones. So let's think of that. Breathe in and think of the spine and the back getting really tall. And breathe out and feel that you're really firmly connected into the floor. Good. And if you did close your eyes, you can blink them open. So blink, blink, blink. Good. Let's take it into some of our warming stretches. So let's take our hands and do our flashing hands. So make a fist and then spread the fingers wide. Good. Now let's draw the circles. And the other way. Stretch the palms of the hand. So this bottom part of the hands come towards me. fingertips up to the ceiling, and then fingertips to the floor, and the ceiling, and the floor. Good, give the hands a shake. Now, palms up to the ceiling, and let's touch the shoulders and stretch the hands. Shoulders, stretch the hands. Shoulders, this time, stretch the hands up. Shoulders, stretch the hands up. Shoulders, and just place them down by the side. Good, let's take our right hand, our orange hand, so follow this hand, and we'll take it up, 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 over, and then all the way back down. Go with the other hand, so take your left hand, the pink hand, and reach up, over, and back down. Good, let's do that again. Let's use our breath. So breathe in, and then breathe out. Other way, breathe in, and breathe out. Now, let's take the hands. We did this a few weeks ago, and we imagine with our fingertips, we're trying to draw a circle around the body. So let's draw it to the front first. So draw it all the way, the biggest circle we can make. So let's bring the body forward, and then open the circle, draw it around the body behind us. And then let's see if we can press our hands into the floor and lift our chest towards the ceiling. And breathe there. Don't forget to breathe. And then one more time, draw the biggest circle you can make all the way forward. And then draw the biggest circle out to the side and right the way round the back. Press the fingertips into the floor. Lift the chest to the ceiling. Good. Give the body a shake. We did this last week, I think, our rotation or our twist. So take the orange hand, take your right hand, stretch it out. Now, bring it across the body, so it goes across the chest to the other side. Place it on that knee. So now we've got a bit of a twist in the body. Push this hand into the knee and see if we can twist a little bit to the back. Just a little bit. So listen to your body. Make sure you don't twist too far. And then untwist. Whew. Take the other hand. So take your left hand. Follow my pink hand. Bring it across the body. So it comes across the chest. So now it's on the opposite side. Put it on that knee. Press that hand into that knee and see if we can keep twisting towards the back. And then let yourself untwist. Good. I think we're feeling a little bit warmer now. Okay, let's move on to some of our asanas, our postures that you already know. So let's start with our table. Okay, so I'm sure you know this well by now. Check your hands are under your shoulders, your knees are under your hips, and that your spine is really long. Good. And make sure your hands are spread on the mat, so we have our fingers wide and our palms of the hand are really pressed in. Okay. And let's just breathe there. Good. And I think we could go straight away into our cat. So let's breathe in. And as we breathe out, arch the back up. Imagine you bring the belly button right up towards the spine. And then breathe in, go the other way. And then breathe out. So do that for yourself. You can do it as fast or as slow as you want. It's a really good one for keeping the spine healthy. Good. Let's sit back a little second. Give our hands a shake. Okay. A few weeks ago, we tried our balancing table. Let's try that again this week. Okay, so back to our table. We're going to reach one hand. It doesn't really matter which hand. And see if we can balance and place it back down. Try the other hand. And back down. Now try one leg and point your toe behind you and lift the leg up. And then place it back down. Don't forget to breathe. And then the other. And place it back down. Okay, so you can do that all again, or we could try the opposite hand and foot. So for me, I'm going to take my right hand, which is my orange hand, and I'm going to take my left leg, so the opposite foot, and see if I can balance. And then place it back down. How did you go? Okay, now I'm going to try my left hand, my pink hand, and I take the opposite leg and I try my balance. Good. Well done. It's a good one for our core muscles. We're keeping ourselves really strong to allow us to stay balanced. So well done. Okay, let's move on to our Cobra. We've done this before as well. So let's start from our table, maybe walk our feet back, come down to our forearms, and then belly on the mat. Remember last week or the week before I showed this on the chair. So if you find lying on your tummy uncomfortable, you can do this one on the chair. Okay, so let's keep the inside of our arms and our palms pressed into the mat, and our toes are nice and pointed long behind us. And then let's push into our hands, push into the floor with your feet and look forward. Think of our golden thread taking the chest this direction forward, and then let ourselves just come all the way down. Good. We can place our forehead on our hands and do our belly breath. Good. So we're going to push back up. And let's check in with our child's pose. So remember, we have two versions of the legs for this. So we have the legs together, or we have the toes together with the legs out wider. And this gives us space here to go forward. Doesn't matter which legs you choose whichever feels more comfortable. Or maybe you try both. So let me turn this way. And again, remember, this is a good one if you like to put lots of pillows here. That's a good pose for using our pillows. Okay, so last week we had our arms stretched back. This week, let's stretch them forward. And don't forget to breathe. Good. This is when we have our arms stretched forward, it's a really nice pose for stretching out the shoulders. Now, I remember, as always, I always say, listen to your body. I've gone all the way forward. If you don't go all the way forward, that's fine. It might just be a little bit like here or even here. Okay? And it doesn't really matter. It's all yoga, it's all fine. Okay, now last week we did our downward dog. So let's do that again this week. So remember, we start from our table. Our table is a really useful pose. Okay, make sure our hands are spread. We press into the hands. We can feel the floor or the mat with all of the hand. Tuck the toes. And remember, we imagine we lift our hips towards the ceiling. And to help us do this, we press into the hands and toes. Okay, so lift ourselves up. Keep the knees bent. And remember, we talked about our back. It'd been more important to think about a straight back than to worry about straight legs. Okay. Now, if that feels okay, you could do little walks through the feet. Yeah. Okay, and let's come down. So bring the knees down. And then let's give our hands a shake. Okay. Each week when we're practicing yoga, if you feel like you would like to do a pose again, like there was a pose that felt like, oh, that felt really good today, you can just pause the video and do it as many times as you want before we move on to the next pose. So well done. Okay. I think we did our plank pose last week, so let's give that a go today. We're working really hard. So come back to our table. So remember, we have a couple of different versions. We could just begin to bring the knees further back and get used to, so our shoulders are over our hands. And again, you could adjust how far forward or back you are and see how that feels. It's about getting used to the arms, building some strength. Okay. Or you might decide from your table to take one leg back. Let me move these out of the way so you can see my feet. Might put a leg back to the toes and then the other one. Whew. This is another good one for the core. And anytime you're coming out of a pose, come out slowly. So one knee down, two knee down, and come back. Well done. Plank's a strong pose. It's a good pose for our core, for building our strength in the arms and thinking about the long body. So I think we'll begin to take ourselves up to standing. So we come back to table, we tuck our toes, and then just walk the feet in. Let the head be nice and heavy, and then roll up through the back. So let's look at some more of our standing postures. So as always, let's start with our mountain. So check our feet are under the hips, not too wide, not together, just a little bit apart. Think of our nice tall golden string that stretches us right up towards the sky. Roll the shoulders back, turn the arms out, so now the palms face towards me, and breathe in and out. So just breathe naturally. But like we did when we were sitting, imagine that every breath brings you a little taller towards the sky, and every breath out, really feel that your feet are nice and strong on the floor. Good, and relax the arms. Okay, let's go through some of our stretches here. So let's think about breathing the arms up and down. Breathe them up and down. Let's take one arm, our right arm, or the orange arm, and over the head and back up. Let's switch, take your left arm, follow my pink arm, over the head and back down. Good. Let's take a little stretch forward. And as we go forward, round into the back. And then open up the shoulders and the chest so the chest tips towards the ceiling. And then a little round forward. Imagine we're hugging around a big ball. And then open up all the way to the ceiling. Good. Let's give the shoulders a little roll, a little shimmy. Okay, shake the hands out. Good. Let's start with our chair pose. Okay. So we're going to imagine we have the chair here, or as always, you might actually have the chair here just for a little bit of added support. Take a breath in, and then we imagine we sit down. And again, the hands can go wherever is comfortable. They could stay here, they could come out forward to help balance, or they might reach up towards the ceiling and then relax out of it. You can really feel that one strengthening all the muscles in the legs and also pulling our back nice and tall. Let's do it one more time. Okay, so breathe in and breathe out, and imagine we sit on the chair. So again, you pick where you want your arms to go and relax back out. Whew. Well done. Give the legs a shake. Okay, now we're going to do a slightly different pose today. It's a bit of a roll down, stretch through the back. So I'm going to do it this way so you can see me. So I'm going to, as if we're about to, same legs as for mountain. So our feet are under the hips. Okay, I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to let my head be really heavy, and I'm going to think about rolling down through the spine, all the way through the spine, and I let my hands come towards the mat, and I just hang over. Okay, and then I'm going to roll back up, so I roll through the spine, all the way up through the spine, and my head is the last thing to come up. Now with this pose, if you like to use a chair, you might like to have the chair in front just to hold on to as you go down. Okay, let's add another little bit into that. So we're going to bend the knees, let the head roll all the way down, and as you roll the head, it moves into the top of the back, then the middle of the back, then the low part of the back. Let the arms be really heavy. Now from here, I want you to shake the head as if you're saying no. Shake it side to side. Now nod the head as if you're saying yes. And then just relax the head and come back up. So as you begin to roll up, really press your feet into the mat to keep yourself nice and strong. Roll up through the back, and then the head is the last thing to come up. Good. When we do our little shakes of the head, it just helps release all the tension that we gather in the shoulders and the neck. Well done. Okay, let's go back to we did this last week, I think, wide leg forward fold. So like that one, we're folding forward, but this is our wide leg fold. Let me get the chair. So you may use the chair, you may not use the chair, it's up to you. I'm going to move my chair off the mat just because I'm too close to the wall. Okay. So remember, we take our legs as wide as is comfortable for you. We can turn the toes in a little bit, so the toes can be turned in a little bit or just pointed straight. Okay. Then we take our hands to the hips. Think about that nice tall yoga string, and we begin to fold forward. So we imagine that we keep the body nice and tall. The head is moving forward, and we fold, 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 and use the breath. And if you're using the chair, you can just place the hands on the chair And if you're not and you want to let the hands come a little bit further towards the floor, and don't forget to breathe. And then we can come back up either through the chair or take your hands back to the hips and unfold. Then bend the knees, begin to walk the feet in. And there we go, our wide leg forward fold. Okay, let's do our warrior. So remember, our feet go wide. I'm going to take the left foot, turn it round, toes point out, back foot turns in a little bit. I lift my strong warrior arms up. I'm looking over the fingers, bend into the knee. Now remember, we talked about checking in, making sure our knee is over our ankle. Okay, good. Remember last week we added in our yoga, our warrior breath. So we breathe the shoulders up towards the ears and then relax and press them down. Good. And one more time, breathe them up and press them down. I think we could add another warrior breath here. So this pink hand, so the hand that is the same as the knee that is bent, so this side of the body, let that hand come towards the ceiling. Let the other hand relax down somewhere on the back leg, and let this hand reach towards the ceiling and look towards it. And then all the way back down. And relax the arms. Come back in through the legs. Whew. These warriors are getting stronger and stronger. Let's go the other direction. So, legs out. Turn the other foot. So for me now it's this side of the body, the orange side of the body. We're going to turn the toe. So for me it's facing my door. I'm going to turn that back foot in a little bit just to help balance me and keep me in place. I'm going to turn my hips towards you guys. Lift the arms up. Bend into the knee. I'm going to check my knee to see if I need to make any adjustments. Bring the arm back up. I'm looking down over that hand. Now let's do our breath. So breathe the shoulders up to the ears and press them down. One more time, up and down. Now, this other hand, so same arm as the leg that is bent. We're going to bring it up to the ceiling. Let the other hand come to the back leg. Stretch up towards the ceiling. Breathe in and out. And all the way back down. And then bring the hands in. Feet in. Bend the knees. Walk ourselves back in. Well done. Let's try our tree pose. So you might be working at the different versions that we've looked at of tree, and there's no right, there's no wrong. There's many different types of trees out there in the world. There's many different types of trees on the yoga mat. Okay? So again, you might have your chair. So you know which version of tree you are working on. So remember, we anchor down through one foot. So really press one foot into the mat. Pull up nice and tall in the body. Imagine you're the tall tree in the forest. Then we turn the other leg out onto the toe. Oh, let me turn this chair the other way. That would be better. Then you can take hold of your chair, or we can do it against the wall. Remember, we have lots of different options when we practice yoga. Okay, lots of different ways to make it more comfortable and safer, and just be kind to yourself. Okay. So this might be your version. You might have the foot just above the ankle. You might have the foot even higher. This chair is my way. Yeah, and you're just checking in with your balance. So pick your version and keep practicing. Good. Let's try the other side. So be really strong through the other leg. So tall tree, decide where your foot will be, down here, a little higher or even higher, and go with your tree. And when you use your arms to balance, really imagine that you stretch through your fingertips as long as you can, because that will help balance even more. If we let our arms be too floppy, it doesn't really help with balance, but if we make them really strong, they really help balance us in tree. Well done. If you want to keep practicing tree, pause the video, practice for as long as you want, and then join us again. Okay guys, so let's make our way to the floor. So if you're using your chair, come down with your chair. If you're not, just roll down through the body. So bend the knees, roll our way all the way down. If you're using the chair, come down with the chair or to the floor and find yourself on the mat. So well done guys for those standing poses. We're now back on the mat to do some more postures, some more asanas. So keep remembering from our yoga poem, I am light. So keep remembering that brightness that makes you who you are, and think about it while we practice our yoga. So let's do our stick pose again. So remember, our stick pose was our nice long yoga back. Okay. So this was our good one for adding some pillows if we need. They could go under the knees. Okay. So get comfortable on the sit bones. Think about that nice tall yoga back. That golden thread takes us really tall towards the ceiling or towards the sky. And we can have our legs bent, or if you want, you can bring your legs down towards the floor. And again, this is where a pillow really helps. It makes it a lot more comfortable. Okay, now this week, let's see if we can flex our feet so our toes point towards the ceiling. Okay, it's a little harder, but if it feels wrong, don't do it, just relax the legs. But let's see if we can flex the toes, point them towards the ceiling. Remember, let's press the fingers to the mat to help lengthen our back. Okay, and if you need to take a rest from that, just relax out. Otherwise, we can lift one arm. Let's see if we can lift the other arm. And then let's do our little breathing up and down. So let's see if we can bring the arms up and then down. And as we go down, think about we're hinging from the hips. So we bend from the hips. Okay. Good. And relax. Place the hands behind you and give your legs a little shake. Good. Let's come down to do our bridge pose. Okay. So bring yourself slowly to the mat. Nice and easy. Okay. So you've done this one a lot now, so this one should hopefully beginning to feel a little more comfortable. So we place the inside of the forearms and the palms of the hands on the mat, roll the shoulders back on the mat, so we really press the shoulders into the mat, knees are up towards the ceiling, feet are firmly on the floor. Now push into the feet and into the shoulders, and this time let's lift our hips up all the way. Okay, and let's hold it, but breathe. Don't forget to breathe. And roll down through the spine. Good. Well done. Now, we're going to add one more thing into our bridge. You can stay lying down. So if you would like to try, when we're in our bridge, I'm going to join my hands underneath my back like this, but they'll still stay on the floor. But I just want to show you what they'll look like while sitting up. Okay, so if they were under my back, I would bring them like this, but I'll still have them resting on the floor. I won't have them against my back, but this is what the fingers, the interlocked fingers, will look like. Okay, so come back down. Now let's press in to the hands, feet, the shoulders, and bring the hips up. Okay, now you can stay like that, or if you want to try, you could bring the hands together, interlock the fingers, but keep them on the floor, and then you could shimmy the elbows in a little bit. Okay, now when we do this with the hands, it just helps lift the chest a little bit more. And relax down. How did that go? Well done. Okay, while we're here, let's do our hug in. So hug, hug, hug. We could bring the head up towards the knees. And release it down. Well done. Now you can stay lying on the mat, or you can come up to sit. We're going to do another new pose today, and it's another twist where we twist the spine. Okay, I'm going to change where I am so you can see me better, but you can stay where you are. Okay, so I'm going to face this way so that you can see me. So I'm going to lie down. So maybe watch first and then we'll do it together. So my arms are stretched out, my knees are to the ceiling, and I'm going to let my knees drop one way. And then I bring them up to the ceiling, and then I let them drop the other way. Now again, your knees may not drop the whole way to the ground, that is fine. This is also where pillows can be useful. You could have a pillow at either side, and then that just helps place the knees and up. Okay, so let's do that together. So I'll do it the same direction I just showed it, but we'll do it together now. Okay, so we're going to lie down again. It's a bit like our bridge. Our knees are up towards the ceiling, but this time take the hands out to the side. Don't lift them too high up so that your shoulders feel a bit crumpled. So just a little bit out to the side. Now, let the knees drop one way. Doesn't really matter which way. And we want to also think about that the shoulders stay as close to the floor as we can let them. And then lift the knees up. And then drop them the other way. So this gives us a really nice twist through the spine. Let's do one more either side. So the knees go back to the other side and up to the ceiling. Last time, the other way. Good. Now stay where you are. I'm going to shift my position. And we're going to find our comfortable place on the mat for our relaxation. Okay, so remember, if lying on your back doesn't feel comfortable for you, you could lie on your side, that's okay. Or you could even sit up. So give yourself a little shake. Okay. Now start to pay attention to your breathing. Again, you don't have to make it deep breathing or anything like that. Just notice that when you breathe in, your chest might lift up, your belly might lift up, and as you breathe out, they might sink and fall. So just pay attention to that for a few breaths. Okay, good. Now come back to our yoga poem, I am light. And when we think of light from the I am light, we might think of a time when you've been really bright or shiny or happy. So remember a happy time, a happy memory. And just think about that memory as you listen to the music and keep breathing. Good. Now let's use the breath to begin to wake up the body. So take a big breath in and let me hear it as you breathe out. Maybe you give your fingers a little wiggle, the toes a little wiggle. Wiggle the fingers all the way up towards the ceiling and all the way stretched behind your head. Good, and bring the arms back down. Bring the knees up towards the ceiling. Place the soles of the feet on the floor. Give yourself a little shimmy here. Come into our hug. And then let the head go back on the mat. Roll over to one side. Take a pause. And press into the floor to help yourself come back up to sitting. And find a sitting position that's comfortable for you. Remember, it doesn't have to be cross-legged. It could be against a wall. It could be sitting legs out straight. Whatever is comfortable for you. Okay. Let's roll the shoulders and give the head a little look side to side. Lovely. Let's take our breathing up. So breathe the arms up and down and up and and down. This time place them on the heart. Okay, so let's go back to our image of I am light. And maybe you have a nice memory from our relaxation. I want you to hold on to that. I want you to imagine that you bring that nice, shiny, bright light into your heart. Breathe it in. And let the hands relax. Good. Let's do our lion's breath. So hands onto the knees. Press into the knees. Open the eyes wide. Good. Well done, guys. I will see you back here next week for some more yoga. Bye.